What's up, Taurus? With your April love general reading. This is for my lovely Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. This is a general love reading and may not resonate with every Taurus out there. Let's go see what messages we have for you for the month of April for your highest good and clarity in regards to love. Okay, this is interesting energy. Right off, I'm seeing some similarities between the two of you, and that is probably what draws you together. I think both of you have been through some hardships in your life, and I can see that being something that would bond you. Like, you understand the past that your person has experienced, and vice versa. They understand that part of you too. So this might be something that you don't feel like you can connect with other people on. If you've had maybe a rough childhood, or maybe just a lot of past disappointments, or major upheavals in your life, or relationships that have gone terribly wrong. I think that two of you can relate in that way, and it really brings you closer together. The Magician card is number one. Number ones talk about just new beginnings in general. So I do think that this Magician person is somebody who is willing to and able to reinvent themselves. They might do that quite often. They might kind of like switch up the energy, move away from something that's not working, and make a change in their life. This Tower person, I think, does a lot of reflecting, with the Tower being number 16, reducing to a 7. This is somebody who does a lot of self-discovery and reflection work. Let's go ahead and look at your animal cards. That'll give me a little more insight into who each of these people are, and then we'll talk about it. So person number A, or number 1, number A, is showing up as the fox. And person number 2 is showing up as the chameleon. Okay. Definitely that feeling of adaptability. It's actually coming through on both sides. So I think that both of you can relate in how adaptable you are. And that's probably learned behavior because you've had to overcome obstacles, and maybe in some cases a lot of your foundation being absolutely rocked. I think both of you have been through that and understand what that is, and have become pretty adaptable when it comes to having to kind of pick up the pieces and move along. So there is a little bit of a different energy. It's like, I think the two of you relate in terms of similar experiences, but then maybe differ when it comes to how you approach how you're going to kind of deal with life's ups and downs. So I think this Magician person is somebody who is very inventive when it comes to coming up with ways to get around obstacles. They don't see a roadblock in front of them that most people would see. I think they've been through enough to kind of know how to pivot. They know how to go around the obstacle. They know how to come up with a plan B. They know how to kind of use, like, pick up the pieces and see what else they can make happen. It's almost like a feeling of turning lemons into lemonade type of thing. And that's kind of what the Magician is about. The Magician is about manifestation and about bringing kind of that vision down to earth. So I think this person is really a master at grounding down a bigger vision. And sometimes that involves kind of picking up the pieces and looking at what's left and putting something together in a coherent fashion. I think this person really is great at that. I think they'll do whatever it takes to kind of like make things happen, or to make things go their way. On the other hand, with this Tower person, definitely somebody who has been through trials and tribulations and understands the need to pivot, to pick up the pieces, but they kind of approach this in a different way. So this chameleon energy is the energy of being very versatile, of being very flexible. So very similar in that way. I think it's just the approach would be different. I think the chameleon is more likely to try to blend into a situation, more likely to try to work with what's there than to create something new. whereas the Magician will try to create something brand new that will make things go exactly how they want it to go. And the Tower person is maybe a little bit more accepting of how things are at times. It's really interesting energy because it almost feels like the Tower person might be a little bit more mature, maybe a little older, or has had more of these sort of disappointing or earth-shattering type of experiences, because I do see the Tower person as somebody who can come across as a bit more jaded. The Magician person is like more bright-eyed, more looking forward towards the future in a happy, like hopeful way most of the time. And the Tower person is someone who might be a little bit more reluctant to trust that things are going to work out. They might just kind of struggle to see the bright side of things sometimes, and they might accept what is a little bit more. I think it comes from experience more than anything. So they just may have had more negative experiences that kind of force them to accept a little bit more. But I'm already seeing that the Magician can really teach this Tower person how to stop accepting things the way that they are, and how to really get in there and change things to be exactly what they want, how to manifest properly. I think that this Magician person is a master when it comes to that, and can really teach the Tower person how to draw in what they want instead of accepting things that they don't. Okay, let's look at your next oracle cards. This is going to really show what each of these people can teach the other one. So first, what the Magician can teach the Tower person. We have courage. It says, I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. And what the Tower person can teach the Magician is fear. I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. Okay. This is really interesting, you guys, because this is essentially the same thing. The courage card and the fear card are both cards talking about how to move past a state of fear and have the courage to live in love, to look at everything from a lens of love, and to kind of return back to our true nature, and that is of love. So it's really interesting. I think both of these people are teaching each other the same lesson. It seems to me like, even though the Magician knows this clearly, because the Magician's able to teach the Tower person this courage, this kind of lesson over here, and even though the Tower person knows the same lesson, they can't seem to apply it to their own lives. It's like they can only learn the lesson from the other person. So this is definitely a relationship that is very important and essential, because I think that these two people it's almost like they're the only ones who can teach the other one how to love and how to move through the world from a place of love and not from a place of fear. Wow. Okay. That is beautiful. I have one oracle card here, and this is going to talk about kind of the future of the relationship, or give us more insight into what's going on here. And we have Transcendence, and this is number 1 as well. So we had 1 show up twice now, with the Magician and here with this card. So I think that this relationship is really taking a turn toward a new beginning. If this is a brand new relationship, then that explains why we're having all of these messages of new beginnings. It might be something that you're just starting out on and just starting to explore, but it might be a change in your relationship dynamic. It might be these two people really realizing how important they are for each other in each other's lives. This card here, this Transcendence card, is really about divine inspiration, about spiritual protection. So I do think that this union is divinely guided, and you definitely have a protective energy in terms of your spirit guides. I think both of your guides, I think all of them are really cheering you on and really pushing you toward this relationship. And what I'm seeing here is that the reason the two of you have come into each other's lives is because this is really going to be an end of karmic cycles for both of you. It's going to be really learning these final lessons so that you don't have to repeat and continue to learn the same lesson over and over and over again. So this is super important for both the magician and the tower person here. This relationship is going to clear up a lot of karmic space for both of you. And I think that kind of goes back to talking about both of these people. It seems like they've really been through something. They've had to overcome a lot of challenges, and that could be in terms of relationship for a lot of you. And it's like this relationship is going to put an end to that entire cycle that kept repeating itself before. So it's definitely an important relationship in that it ends the karmic cycle. And if we look at this courage and fear, like I was saying, you're teaching each other the exact same lesson, which is so interesting because it feels like if you know that, then you should be able to apply it to your own life. But it's really hard to break habits. And then now we're talking about karmic cycles, so even harder to break a karmic cycle. I feel like both of these people have been caught in a karmic cycle when it comes to relationship, when it comes to love, when it comes to opening themselves up. And if this isn't a romantic connection for you, then this is just about relationships in general, just connections to other people. It's like you've been creating the exact same cycle over and over and over again, and it's been really difficult to get out of that loop. But now here you both come to teach each other the same lesson, to teach each other how to love and how to lead from a place of love, and to drop the fear, leave the fear behind, and really go forward from a place of love, which is absolutely beautiful. Okay. I think I want to look into a little bit of tarot. I think this really goes in line with what we were just talking about. There's a feeling of like hidden knowledge here. It's like each of you has the key to the knowledge that the other one needs. And that's that priestess energy here. And the two of you are going to really be tapping into a lot of this knowledge and this intuition that you just weren't able to quite grasp on your own, but together you can make it happen. And it's like a feeling of it being absolutely true. Like the lessons that you're going to teach each other, it's the truth. And I think I'm really feeling like that goes back to this idea that love is our true nature. And that's kind of the truth that both of you are teaching each other. This is a really, really powerful and important connection. So that really shows me why this relationship has come into existence, why this relationship is so important. Now, I saw a card in the deck that flipped. So I want to see what that card was. I think there's one in here for you guys that wanted to come out and it's turned the other way. Let's see. Oh. Definitely this feeling of like hidden information, just like I can't find this card here. Okay. Definitely, you guys. We have the Four of Emotions here. It was flipped in the deck and I could see the blue shining through, but I couldn't find it. So the Four of Emotions is like Four of Cups energy. It really talks about something coming through that you're not eager for something that's being offered to you. And I think that this really talks about this karmic cycle that it seems like both of you have been trapped in. I think that both people in this connection are both really thinking, I'm not interested in receiving the same thing again, and I'm also not interested in having to learn this lesson one more time. So I think that's really why the two of you have come into each other's lives, to end that cycle and to make sure that you don't have to learn this lesson again. This is I think this is really a divine connection, and we were talking about this really being divinely inspired and divinely guided, so definitely an important connection for you. Okay. Okay, we have the Empress. I think the two of you are really going to be creating something special and powerful. Okay, that's too many cards. That's too many cards. This might be somebody with Empress energy. I just always get like a mother energy. So I think of family and fertility. So this might be someone who you are going to start a family with. And that's definitely an important reason for somebody to come into your life. This, for a lot of you, is a lifelong partner, and the person that you share children with and that you spend your life with, you share grandchildren with. We had the Tower card come out again. So really, I think that these karmic cycles that have been taking place, it's really coming to an end. And it's just funny that the Tower card came out again by the Tower card. The two of you have really been through a lot that has absolutely rocked you to your core. I do think it's important to talk about the difference in how each of you approach that, because I think that this Tower person may have become a little bit more guarded when it comes to being open and exploring things, and the Magician person is a bit more open. But it's just important to realize that, because clearly this is a divine connection, and it is in place to make sure that karmic cycles are broken and that the both of you can move forward in a place of love. So it's just remembering that common ground. Just remember that you have both been through it. The way that you have chosen to deal with it is a little different, but if both people can be understanding, then I think this is actually a really beautiful connection. So that's all I have for you, Group 1. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for letting me read your cards. If you liked this video, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below, and consider subscribing if you feel like doing that. And I'll see you in your next reading. Bye. Hi, number 2. If you picked the Sodalite, this is going to be your reading all about why you are so drawn to the person on your mind, why this connection is so important in your life, and why they feel drawn to you as well. So we're going to kind of figure out what is so special about the connection that you have with this person, and what lessons you're both here to teach the other. So let's jump in. I'm going to do a person A, person B type spread, person 1, person 2, and you can decide which side of the spread you fall on. You might find your energy shows up on both sides of the spread, and that's perfectly normal. So let's just jump in and see what we have. So person number 1 is showing up as the Page of Wands, and person number 2, the Chariot. Okay. Again, really interesting energy. I thought the energy in Group 1 was very interesting. And Group 2, you did not disappoint. So, okay, right off, I do think that there is a difference in maturity level here when it comes to this connection. So person number 1 is a little less mature than person number 2. It doesn't mean that either one of these people are immature or childish or anything like that. It can be literally that person number 2 is a little bit older than person number 1, but I think it really just speaks more to the approach to life. Person number 1 takes a more childlike approach to life, doesn't take things so seriously. And the Chariot person does tend to take things a bit more seriously. So with this Page of Wands, we have fire energy here. So person number 1 could be an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. They don't have to be that sign. They could just exhibit a lot of fiery, passionate energy, but that might give you a little bit of a clue. And with the Chariot, we have Cancer energy here. So this is water energy. And it could either be that the person is a Cancer, or they can just be any water sign. They don't have to be the sign of Cancer. So this person might also be a Pisces, they might be a Scorpio or a Cancer. with this cams with this chariot card, it is the number 7, and with sevens we're always talking about self-discovery, reflection, kind of like going within. So I do think that this chariot person is more likely to do that deep inner work, that deep reflection, than the page of wands person is. That's just kind of like, I think that just goes along with the maturity that is found there. I think this page of wands is very playful, uh, very, very, uh, very exuberant, and maybe sometimes a bit childlike, but a very fun energy I'm getting from this page. Let's let's look at the animal cards that are associated, because then that's going to give me like a really good idea about who each of these people are. So the page is coming through as the baboon. Totally, totally. And the chariot is coming through as the giraffe. Okay. Okay. I I do see that this connection is a little bit challenging at times. This connection, especially with this fire energy coming through on the page side and the water energy on the chariot side, it's like the two of you are opposites in a lot of ways, and it can sometimes feel like a conflict, or um like cause for conflict. I think that a lot of times the page kind of feels like the chariot is like putting his fire out with all that water energy. I say his just because of the picture, but this can be a male or a female, it doesn't matter. Um I think that this page really kind of flies by the seat of their pants. They kind of um they live in the moment, and they don't so much look at the big picture, all of the consequences, the way things are going to pan out, what the future holds. They don't so much look at any of that. They are very present and very interested in kind of having a good time. And this chariot person is a lot more reflective, like we talked about, but they're always looking deeper into the situation, looking for all of the feelings involved in the situation, with this water energy coming through, very emotionally concerned in a way, like their their thoughts and kind of like the way that they where they put their energy is toward more emotional matters. They're not afraid to dig deep into the feelings of things. And I think this page kind of shies away from doing that. So like the chariot and this giraffe energy, the giraffe energy is really about being kind of meddlesome at times, almost like being nosy, kind of poking, wanting more details. And I think that that's what this chariot person tends to do to the page, kind of like always poking, always digging deeper for more details, wanting to know about the emotions. And the page is like, "Ugh, can we just have fun?" You know, there's just a real playful energy coming from this page. So I don't think that this is a bad thing. I think it can cause conflict, but I think most of all what I'm seeing here, it's just making me smile, because I think that it's like a really balancing energy. And the page like, I think the page just kind of like is making me smile, because it's just funny how this page responds to the chariot person, how they always can like put a lighter spin on whatever the chariot person might be worrying about. I do think that it's like with this chariot person, I'm just getting a more driven energy. There's just more of an energy to move forward, to plan, to like to make things solid, to understand every angle of it. And the page just isn't that concerned with doing some of that. So it is kind of buddy. Okay, let's look at your oracle cards. These oracle cards are going to tell us what each person can teach the other. So first we're going to find out what the Page of Wands can teach the chariot person. And we have humor, of course. Oh, I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. Okay, absolutely. This page is in the chariot person's life to teach them to lighten up a little bit, to teach them to have fun. So in the presence of this page, this chariot person is going to have a lot more fun, is going to kind of just relax a bit, you know, laugh and joke around and be more present in the moment and not be so concerned with future matters. Okay, and what can the Chariot person teach the Page? We have forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. Okay. So I do think that, like, with this forgiveness card, part of the Page not being quite as reflective, I think part of that can mean that they aren't able to forgive. They're not able to, it's not that they're not able to forgive, but what I think happens with this Page person is that they kind of just take things as they come. So that there are deeper emotional wounds there, and maybe a person that needs to be forgiven or something that needs to be let go of. The Page isn't very likely to even realize that that's there. And I think the Chariot person is the one that will point it out to the Page. Like, maybe we need to look at this. How do you feel about this? You know, get them to talk about their feelings, get them to really explore what's going on. And that can open up the possibility for forgiveness. I think that, like, when we don't explore those deeper emotions, although it can be painful and it can be hard sometimes, there can be, like, people in our lives or past situations that we need to forgive and let go of, but it's difficult to do that because we aren't even willing to look at it enough to be able to do that. So I think that's definitely a lesson that the Chariot person is here to teach the Page, just to really look deeper at that. So I am just getting an energy from these two of just, like, I think that they really love each other and they really care about each other and they know how different they are. And it's just like something that they accept. I feel like they just get on each other's nerves, but in like kind of in a cute way, like cute bickering, or like they can get past it. You know, I do think that they do kind of like irritate each other, but they can move past the irritation. So definitely, I can already see some really important lessons here to be learned. Let's look at your last oracle card, and this kind of shows us that where this connection is headed. I looked at kind of open, so it's like where it's headed, or we might get more information about this connection, but really just like where can we go from here with these two energies. So we have Shakti, and that is number 5. Fives are all about change, so that's interesting to note. With this Shakti energy, let me just move these things up so you can see a little bit better. There is definitely a really strong sexual energy coming from this card, and I think entering this connection. So if you are asking about a connection that is not romantic and you're not interested in pursuing a sexual relationship with this person, then, you know, just kind of disregard this. If this is not sexual, then it's really about creativity. So I think the two of you are going to bring out a lot of creative energy in each other. You might end up working together on a creative project. I think the two of you help each other to recognize your self-worth. And that really is apparent in the way that these energies are so different. I think that you can both see kind of the value of being like the other, and that really helps to point out just how worthy this person is. And it also talks about playfulness, which is really what we were talking a lot about on the Page of Wands side of this. So this could just be a connection where you feel very playful and you feel very secure around this person, if this is a friend or a family member that you were asking about. But for those of you interested in a romantic and in a sexual relationship with this person, this card definitely shows that the connection is going to be moving more in that way. Now, the number 5, like I was talking about being change, I think for a lot of you, this might be a relationship that has never been romantic before. You haven't gotten to that point of being physically intimate with this person. So it is going to be a change in the dynamic, but it feels like you're going to be moving more towards that sort of energy. This is divine feminine energy here with the Shakti card. If you are already in a connection with this person, then this is just a sign, a signal that the sexual energy is going to be really picking up between the two of you. And I think it's like, I think the reason that the sexual energy is so easy for the two of you, or why it's so intense between the two of you, is really just it's a way that the two of you are so different and the way that you balance each other out. I think you balance each other out in life, in just regular day-to-day situations. But I think when it comes to that more romantic side, or that that bedroom time, I think that that balance really comes into play there too. I think you two balance each other out in that way as well. It's like, um it's creating a lot of tension between the two of you, these differences that you have. I think it really kind of, that playful energy and noticing the differences in between the two of you really kind of helps to spark that interest. And it's like the balance. How can I explain this? I feel like it's like you each have your own domain in your relationship, period. It's like the page definitely has his own, or their own way of being, and their, like, their own specialties, and the chariot has their own specialties, and they're very different. And I think that that energy translates into the bedroom. It's like each of you, like, you do your thing and the other one does their thing. You're both so opposites. Like, maybe one of you is very masculine and the other very feminine. And it really just allows a great balance of energy in the bedroom, and definitely a playfulness. So this connection may be moving toward a more sexual place, to be honest. Um, we have the Ten of Voices. Sorry, I got so, like, where am I? Let's pull a couple more cards. So the Ten of Voices is Ten of Swords energy. The Hierophant, number 5. Okay, so another 5, a lot of change. I do think that there's definitely some sort of cycle ending with this, and that could be for a lot of you, just the change in dynamic of your relationship is where that cycle could be ending. The Ten of Swords really talks about painful endings, and a lot of times a feeling of defeat. We have the Chariot come out. That's so funny. The same thing happened in group 1, that the Tower came out again, and the Tower was one of the cards. So we have 2 Chariots here. The way that these cards have laid out, like, I think that it's not that the Chariot person's way of acting is going to, like, prevail in this connection. I just think that the connection is going to move forward. It's going to progress, and that's even if you're already in the connection. It's like you're going to hit a new level, and especially, like, just the way that this happened with the Ten of Swords and then the Chariot. The Ten of Swords is about the end of a cycle, and it can be the end of a painful cycle. So this could be the end of something painful that is individual to one of these people, or to both of these people. It could be something that has nothing to do with this connection, but that this connection is going to kind of be a renewal in that way. Or it could be something between these two people. If you're not in contact with your person, if this is like a no contact type of situation, if maybe these differences have gotten in the way in the past and the two of you have become too frustrated with each other to be able to make something work, that's the end of this cycle. And then the Chariot really shows moving forward into something new. And then we have the Hierophant. So this card can suggest marriage sometimes. It suggests a lot of tradition and kind of like conventional ways of doing things. So there's a couple of different ways I would read that in this scenario. It could be that this relationship is progressing to something more stable and more committed. And in some cases that could be marriage. It could also just really speak to the two of you kind of like hitting your stride, like finding a way to relate to each other and finding ways to kind of cope with the differences so that you can like establish your way of being in this connection. Because it could have been that in the past it was really difficult to make these two very opposite energies merge, and now it's like you're really figuring out a way to do that. Let's pull a couple more cards. I can see this energy being challenging. I think it's something that can be overcome, but it definitely could be challenging. So we have the Eight of Cups come out in reverse, and we have the World. Okay. Um, yeah, I do think for a lot of you, you may have separated because of these differences. And it's like the two of you just really couldn't see eye to eye, and you just couldn't get along. And even if maybe you wanted to, like this Chariot person might have wanted to loosen up and be more playful, they just didn't feel like they were able to, because maybe this Page of Wands wasn't taking on uh, their portion of their responsibility, and that really left the Chariot person having to be more responsible and more concerned with how things were going to pan out. And maybe the same, like maybe the Page of Wands wanted to kind of take on a little bit more responsibility, but they just also wanted to kind of like um, give in to that playful side of themselves, because I think they see the value in it. I think both of these people see the value in the Page's lightheartedness. Like it can bring a lot of fun and take the pressure off of things. And I think that this Page maybe wants to take the pressure off. They want to make things a little bit lighter and make things more fun. And they would always try to pull the Chariot person back into that sort of energy, which at times could have caused a lot of conflict. So for those of you where this is a relationship that has gone a little bit sour, the Eight of Cups really shows me that the two of you will be coming back together. This is something that you walked away from in the past, but I think the two of you are going to be walking back toward each other, especially with this World card coming out. Yeah, so I think that's all I have for you, group two. This is a really cool reading. There's like a fun energy about this reading. So I do think that the two of you are able to have a lot of fun together. You're able to look on the bright side and plan things and let life be fun and kind of cut loose a little bit. You're able to do that together. So I think mainly the reason you're in each other's lives is because you provide this balance for each other, which, you know, and in the past could have caused conflict, but I think the two of you are going to figure it out and really balance each other out and have that carefree, fun nature and time, and also have that more structured planning aspect to your relationship so you can really move forward. So yeah. If you liked this video, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below. And if you feel like subscribing, please do that. I would love to have you, and I'll see you in your next reading. Bye. Hi, number 3. If you picked the Rose Quartz, this is going to be your reading all about why you feel so drawn to your person, why this connection is important, why it feels so intense between the two of you, and really what lessons you both are here to teach one another. So let's just get started. I'm going to start with a person A, person B type of spread. You can decide which side of this your energy falls on. You might find attributes and elements of yourself on both sides of the equation here. So that's perfectly normal if that's the case. Let's go ahead and look. So person number 1 is showing up as the authoritarian. And person number 2 as the Chancellor of Wands. Okay. All of the piles so far, I'm saying very interesting energy, because it really is very interesting energy. I didn't really think it could get more interesting after pile 2, but here you go, pile 3, more very interesting energy. So let's start with person number 1. This card is actually the Emperor card in traditional tarot, and this is number 4. So this person is very balanced. This is a fire kind of element. This is Aries energy here. So person number 1 may be in Aries. They may just be a fire sign, and they also don't have to be any of that. This is just kind of like they might demonstrate some fire energies, some fire elements. I think that this person provides a lot of structure, and they are very stable. Let's kind of move on to the Chancellor of Wands a little bit. So this is again fire energy. So two fire elements coming through here. It could mean that you are both fire signs. It could mean that there's a lot of fire and passionate energy between the two of you. So if you're in Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, this makes perfect sense. If your partner is in Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, it makes perfect sense. And it might not be their sun sign, but it might be somewhere in their chart. There's a lot of fire energy here, which tells me that there is a lot of passion. There's a lot of spiritual connection between the two of you. So I do think that this authoritarian, I think, might be a little bit rigid at times. This can be someone who, like we were talking about, they are very stable, but it can seem a little bit like they're rigid. And so I am kind of seeing like a difference in personalities here. Um, Definitely not opposing energies because we're dealing with two fire signs, but between the two of them, there's one that's a little bit more outgoing, and that's this Chancellor of Wands. And there's one that might be a little bit more bound by the rules and regulations of life or of a certain structure. Because of that, like for some of you, this connection could be something that came about in some kind of formal setting, like a workplace setting or a school setting or something, because there is this feeling of maybe person A being a little bit bound up by rules, and that can be directly relating to this connection. Like maybe there's a certain rule in place that makes person one feel like they aren't able to open up or pursue this connection. So that could be true for some of you. I'm going to go ahead and pull your animal cards so that we can get a better idea of who each of these people are. So for person one, we have the toad. And for person two, the alpaca. Okay. So with this toad energy coming through for the authoritarian, I think that this person worries a lot. This is somebody who can really get anxious, and they can be a little bit bound up in fear and in doubt. And that might be kind of what that energy was coming through. It might not be that they are bound by rules, but in a lot of cases, I think it is. And I think that whatever these rules are, they cause this person to worry a lot. And that could be about this connection or just in general, because we're just kind of talking about who these people are. So this is somebody who really worries about doing things the right way. The Chancellor of Wands is somebody who is a little bit more free-spirited than the authoritarian, very charismatic. I think this is somebody who gets a lot of attention. They kind of just draw attention naturally. It might be because of the way that they look, but it's often because of charisma. I think it's mainly because of charisma, but they could also be a very attractive person. I think it's a more of a fast-paced energy here I'm getting from the Chancellor of Wands, but it's both fire energy. So it's just very interesting because it feels almost like person A might be a little bit held back by something, and I don't really know what. The alpaca energy is very gentle. It's a really soft, easy energy. So I do think that even just the way, if you look at this cards, the way the Chancellor of Wands is looking toward the authoritarian, it really, like, it kind of just speaks to that. I think there's a gentleness coming from this side of the spread, especially directed towards person A. There's just this feeling of being really gentle and being very kind and sweet towards this person. It's really interesting energy. Let's see what else we can get. We're gonna look at these two oracle cards to see what each person is teaching the other. So let's see what the authoritarian can teach the Chancellor of Wands in this connection is gratitude. So this says, I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. And what the Chancellor of Wands can teach the authoritarian is surrender. I can release my need to control. Okay, I do think that, let's start with the surrender card, because I think that that is maybe what is holding this authoritarian person back. I think that this person feels the need to control things, to know the outcome, and potentially to follow the rules, and it causes them to not be able to like let go and kind of open up and fall into this connection. With this gratitude card, I think that the gratitude, it's like, again, like I was saying, the way that the Chancellor of Wands is looking at the authoritarian, I think that this Wands person is just so entranced with person A and is so grateful for their presence in their life that it's actually teaching person A to loosen up a little bit and to like look around and see what they have to be grateful for, and that they might be grateful for this person in their life, because there's such a gentle energy coming from the Chancellor of Wands. I think it's really it's like this person is leading by example and really showing the authoritarian how to care for someone, how to I just think this Chancellor is in reverence of the authoritarian. Like they just think that they are um, so wonderful. And I think that's probably something that this person doesn't give themselves credit for. I think they're so worried about doing things um, the right way that they sometimes can't see like how beautiful it is for them to do things their own way, if that makes sense. Let's look at your last oracle card to see kind of where this connection is headed. I left this part pretty open, so this could just give us more information about the connection, but I'm hoping to see kind of where we can go with these two energies. So we have Divine Love, number 16. Again, yeah, I think this connection is something very special. And I think the Chancellor of Wands is the one that recognizes it the most, or maybe recognized it first. And it's really causing this person to be extremely patient with person one, extremely patient and gentle and loving and kind. And this card here, it really talks about true purpose, about self-acceptance. And I think that's really the lesson that's being learned here by both parties. I think that both people in this connection are really finding their true purpose through this connection. Like we have this divine love card. These are divine partners here. And I do think that maybe life circumstances have caused the authoritarian to be a little bit more closed off to the connection, but this is definitely a divinely guided connection. I think that these two people are going to be connecting on a deeper soul level, and that this is really about opening up and allowing yourself to experience divine love, and realizing that that's a way to support yourself, to care for yourself, and to care for those around you, really opening up to that possibility. Wow. Okay. I'm really getting a feeling here that this authoritarian person has never had someone in their life that would be so patient with them, that would show them so much unconditional love. And that is really what is making them feel so grateful. And it's also kind of triggering the Chancellor of Wands to like to have that sense of gratitude as well. You had the Lovers, number 6, come out. Yeah. Some of you may not have been asking about a romantic connection, but if you were, boy oh boy, this is a really intense romantic connection. And it's not intense in a fiery way, funny enough, because we had so much fire energy come out right in the beginning. There is such a gentle, loving energy. I feel like this is a connection that's like these people would wait for each other for as long as it takes. And I think that waiting might be coming a little bit more from the Chancellor of Wands at this point in the connection. They might feel like they're waiting a little bit, but they are waiting so patiently, so kindly, so lovingly. And that really goes for if you're in a connection right now with this person, or if you're in separation. If you're in separation, I think this Chancellor of Wands is waiting very patiently, very calmly. There is a calmness coming through with this, like they know that the authoritarian will get it together. They know that they will kind of like drop the need. The Hermit card come out. Kind of drop the need to do everything according to the rules and really let themselves shine. There is that feeling. And if the two of you are actually in a relationship, it just might be that it's a little bit difficult for this person to open up. It's a little difficult for them to express emotion and to really open up in a deep way. But that this is too many cards, you guys. But that that this connection is going to open them up, and this Chancellor um is really patient. Like, even if this is a connection that you're already in, they're really exhibiting a sense of patience. Like, I'll wait for you to get to, okay, there we go. I'll wait for you to get to a place where you're ready to open up to me. It's okay, I'm here. Well, that's kind of the energy that I'm getting. Okay, that was too many cards, so we had to go for one card. So this is the Knight of Inspiration, and this actually I think was in reverse. So this is kind of a little bit of a held back energy. Again, fire energy. So it's just interesting because I was saying this isn't in this connection isn't really fiery. Like, it doesn't feel fast and like it's driven off of pure passion, even though both people showed up in a really intense fire energy. And then we have this Knight of Inspiration fire energy in reverse. So I think that really just speaks to that. This is a slower energy, but there is definitely a passion there. There is a spiritual connection there, but it's a little bit like slowed down. It's a little bit like we're not rushing this. And I really feel like that's coming more from the Chancellor of Wands. There's just no need to rush, no need to force this person to open up. And it's funny because that patience is actually what's going to speed up this connection. I think that because it can be a little difficult, Ten of Cups, because it can be a little difficult for person one to open up. This person showing them so much patience is making them open up even faster than they would if they were feeling like they were being pressured to do it. So yeah, I think that really what makes this relationship, this connection, so important, and why it feels so intense, like why these two people feel drawn to each other, is because this kind of patience and caring and love and understanding and unconditional love for each other is so rare that it's like definitely something that is felt by both parties. This Ten of Cups, like, yeah, Ten of Cups is like family and commitment. Okay. This, my gosh, you guys, I think this has happened in every pile so far. We've gotten total confirmation about one of the cards at the front. So this is the Queen of Wands, and the Chancellor of Wands is the Queen of Wands as well. So interesting. I think that this is definitely a strong committed relationship, or is moving in that way, and it's really a lot about trust. So I think that the two of you are together to really teach each other lessons about trust. I do think one of you might be a little bit more involved in that category than the other, but really you're both learning how to trust this, how to how to just wait. And I think the waiting too is part of the trust, because in order to wait for somebody, you have to really trust that this relationship is going to unfold the way that you're hoping for. But yeah, I think both of you are showing each other like this is more than just some quick like a quick hookup or something like that. I'm totally getting that with the fire energy that feels like slowed down. And this Ten of Cups energy, like this is something that you're holding out for, because it's like the ultimate. So it's nothing that you are going to rush into at all. Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of hurt, especially on the authoritarian side of things, that Emperor side. I think this person has been hurt in the past, and that's what's causing all of the worry, and it causes a little bit of hesitation. It makes it harder for them to open up. But that patience and that kindness that's coming from the other side is just so incredibly beautiful. So yeah, I think that this is about a gradual opening, and that's what the two of you are in each other's lives for, to support that opening. I think that this authoritarian really forced the Chancellor of Wands to open up, and that they did it maybe a little more easily than the authoritarian is able to do. It was easier for them to open their heart up to this connection and to this experience, but that's what both of these people are here for, it to open the other one up. And in this case, it's a little bit of a gradual thing, but this is like a flower blooming, so it's gradual, but it is so beautiful, and when it is in full bloom, it's totally worth the wait. So I think that's all I have for you, group 3. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for letting me do this reading for you. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and consider subscribing if you feel like doing that. I would love to have you here. All right, I will see you next time. Bye. Hi, number 4. If you picked the Tiger's Eye, this is going to be your reading. We're going to look at why you feel so drawn to your person, why they feel drawn to you, why your connection is so intense, kind of just like what the two of you are in each other's lives to teach each other, why you feel so drawn to each other. So I'm going to start this reading with a person A, person B type of spread. You can decide which side of the spread your energy falls on. You might find pieces of yourself on both sides of the spread, and that's perfectly normal. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what we have. Person number 1 is showing up as the Knight of Crystals. And person number 2 as the Page of Daggers. Okay. Okay, right off, there's like a young kind of energy coming through here. I don't think that, it's just interesting because I think if I were to say that normally I would get the level of immaturity coming through, but I don't really feel immaturity. I just think that maybe the two of you are both very young, so that could explain it. Maybe you might be around the same age or something, but there's definitely like a little bit of a younger energy. I would say, based on what I'm seeing now, if one of you is slightly older than the other, then it would be this Knight is a little bit older than the Page, but a very youthful, young kind of energy coming through. This could also be because your relationship might be brand new. This might be a very new connection that has just started, or maybe one that hasn't started yet, but you kind of like feel it beginning. It could be that. Other ways to interpret this is maybe both of you are on a brand new path in your life. You might both be kind of like embarking on something new. So there's a newness, a new kind of energy coming through for both of you here. And this relationship might feel like a change in direction for you. So as we look at more of your cards, we can figure out if like why that would be, but it could just be that. It could be that this relationship is something new for you. It's like nothing else you've ever experienced. So in that way, it is a new direction, a new path, kind of has that newness, that youthful energy to it. Okay, let's look at the Knight of Crystals a little bit. This is definite earth energy here. This is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy, so this person may be an earth sign. If they're not an earth sign, then they might just exhibit a lot of earth qualities. So this is somebody who's really reliable. I think this is somebody that the Page of Daggers can really count on. They are dependable. I think that this Knight of Crystals is always there for the Page of Daggers. And you know, that can get a little bit tricky because for some of you, this might be a connection where you're in separation. And it might feel at times like this person isn't always there for you if you are finding yourself resonating with the Page of Daggers side. Or maybe you see that in yourself, like you don't think that you're always there for this person because maybe the two of you aren't even in contact. But I do think that there's like this sense of dependability here. There's this sense of like this person's always going to be there. They're always open to this connection in some way, even if the communication isn't there. Even if they don't communicate that, I think there's an openness coming from this Knight of Crystals. Like they're always going to be there. They're always just a phone call away, even if it seems like they wouldn't be interested in communicating. There's almost like that, like just like the way that you would be for like a best friend or for a family member, that's like no matter what's going on between us, I'm always going to be there for you. There's definitely that feeling coming through from the Knight of Crystals. I think that this Knight can provide a shoulder to cry on a lot of the time. Like this is definitely somebody that those close to them can turn to. I think this Page of Daggers can turn to this person and feel comforted and secure and stable just by this person's presence. The Page of Daggers, this is air energy, swords energy. So this person might be a Gemini, a Libra, an Aquarius. I think this is somebody who communicates well, who can communicate straight to the point. Sometimes I think that this page really struggles to express emotion a lot of the time, but can pretty much be very straightforward about anything else, like literally anything else. They'll just tell you how it is, but might get a little bit choked up or a little hesitant when it comes to being really emotional. I am definitely kind of getting an energy from both of these that these people are here to help each other grow. So I think that like this is coming through really early in the reading, which didn't happen in the other piles, but this is like very apparent that the reason that you're in each other's lives is to help the other one grow. So we'll look into more like how specifically you can help each other grow, but with this earth energy and this air energy, so that gives me the feeling of like wind spreading seeds across fertile ground. Like that would be a way to make more growth happen. So I think that's kind of what's happening here with this earth and air energy. It's like the air energy is kind of almost pollinating the earth. So it's really a reciprocal kind of thing going on here, and it's really a supportive and an energy that's focused heavily on growth. Let's look at your animal cards and it'll give me a better idea of who each parties are here. So for person one, we have the bear. And for person two, we have the anteater. Okay, so this bear energy is just so interesting. We were talking about this Knight of Crystals being very dependable, being somebody that the page could count on. The bear energy really just solidifies that. This is a person who's very devoted, and they might even seem like come across strict sometimes, like almost rigid at times, but it's really coming from a place of being extremely protective. I think this knight is very protective over the page, and that could cause, I guess, the knight to kind of like warn the page, you know, don't do this, don't do that. I think the page moves faster, way faster, and maybe isn't as concerned with consequences as the knight is. It's not that the page is reckless at all, but I think compared to the knight, the page can seem like they're kind of rushing forward. Again, we were talking about this knight potentially being a little bit older than the page, so it might be coming from a place of experience, like I'm going to warn you about this so that you don't have to go down the same path that I went down. There's definitely a protective energy. This knight feels very protective over the page. With this anteater energy, this is really about opportunity, and I think that might be kind of the key difference here, is that the page isn't reckless, but the page will take opportunities. The page will kind of dive at the opportunity to do this, to experience that, you know, just to try something new. They can be quite ingenious. They're very, very smart, very quick-witted, and just like more eager. I think the knight is just a little bit slower, a little bit more cautious, but more eager. I think that this reading is the most even playing ground that I have read for all of the piles so far. I feel like these people are on a very even playing ground. Like they really, they have their own attributes to offer to this, but they just seem very balanced. So I think there's something very similar about these people. They might identify as the same gender. That's kind of shown in these cards here, but these cards have nothing to do with what gender you identify with. It might be like back in the beginning when I was saying like that they're like the same age, or like very, very different, not very different, very slightly different in age, like maybe just a few months older or something. But there's something about this connection that feels like there's some similarity between these people. Maybe they come from the same exact background or something, but they just, it just feels like they're just very different. They've got their own way of doing things, but like very much the same at the same time. It's a very odd energy, but yeah, there's some kind of sameness going on here. Let's look at these oracle cards are going to tell us what each of these people can teach the other. So we'll first look at what the Knight of Crystals can teach the Page of Daggers. And this is kind of like why they're in this connection. What are they here to teach the other party? And this is self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Okay. And what can the Page of Daggers teach the Knight of Crystals? Judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Okay. So when we look at the self-esteem card, I really think that what's going on here is that dependability of the Knight. The way that this page can always count on the Knight, I think it goes even further than that, that the Knight really builds up this page's confidence. I think that the page, with all of this air energy, they might be somebody who can worry a lot, who can get in their head a lot, who can kind of beat themselves up, replay things, just think so much. And I think this Knight of Crystals really helps to ground the page, kind of just settle all of that mental energy and just bring a calmness to the page. And really point out for this page, like, what is unique about this person and what they have to offer, and why they should believe in themselves. That really just, it really goes back to that stability and that dependability and like that devotion that the page feels for the Knight. With this Judgment card here, I think that the page is really teaching the Knight that they don't always have to do everything the right way, that everybody has their own unique way of doing things. I think the page teaches the Knight this just by simply being the page. Like, I don't know that the page has to actually sit down and have a conversation with the Knight to tell them this. I think it's just something that the Knight sees from the page. Like, they see the page trying new things, going about things their own way, maybe ignoring some of the guidance that the Knight gives them and just experiencing things the way that they want to. And I think it really opens the Knight up to the possibility that, you know, there are more than one way to, there is more than one way to do things. Like, there's different ways to go about things, and it doesn't always have to turn out the way that they expected it to. Like, it can go well, and you know, you don't have to like do things by the book all the time. I think that really these two are able to see a lot of beautiful qualities in each other and learn a lot about themselves through looking at these qualities. Just noticing how the other one moves through the world is teaching them so much about themselves. So let's look at your last oracle card to kind of see where this connection is going. I left this part of the reading kind of open, so this is like where this energy could potentially flow to, the way that everything's laying out, or what to expect next in this connection. So we have healing. This is number 33. That's a master number. So whenever I see that, I like to point out that you may have seen a lot of repeating numbers when it comes to this connection. 1111, 333, or just 33, like this card, or 222. It's common when people have this kind of connection, or when master numbers show up in the reading. It's common for that noticing of repeated numbers, and a lot of times that's just your guides trying to send you a bit of a message. So this card is about healing, and I think these two people are in each other's lives to heal each other, and I think that they do that just by being themselves, just by showing the other how they move through the world. Just noticing things about each other is causing a lot of healing and a lot of growth in both of these people. This card really talks about a lot of harmony, tenderness, and overcoming a lot of things. So I think that, yeah, the way I was talking about these people being on kind of like even playing fields, it's like there's something about that. Like, they're able to really be very harmonious together. They're able to really be gentle with each other and kind of recognize where the other one is coming from, and still provide that support or provide that alternative way to view a situation without being judgmental. I think that's really something here, like, to notice that they're not being judgmental. They're actually noticing and kind of taking to heart these differences and these, like, beautiful attributes about the other person. So that is that's really beautiful. I think that's very special. I think that it's clear to me that this is a soulmate connection, and that might be why I was picking up on that sameness or that evenness, because a soulmate connection, it is very balanced. Um, it's like on the lovers card, the way that the lovers are looking at each other eye to eye, there's a certain balance that comes with a connection like this. I think that this is very clearly a soulmate connection. I think that for a lot of you, this is the very beginning of that connection, or you're still very young. So um, whether you're looking for this to be extremely committed at this stage or not is completely up to your situation. It might be something that's so new that you don't know if you even want to explore the idea of this being a soulmate connection. But I think this is clearly a situation where the two of you have chosen to walk together. And yeah, it's all making sense to me now. This idea of the even playing field and all that, it's because the two of you have chosen to incarnate into this life and walk together, walk side by side together. So that's what's giving me that kind of balanced energy, or that sameness. It's like you're both just right there next to each other on even ground, step by step, right together. Yeah, very, very interesting. I think that's what makes the connection so special, and what's making it so intense is that it is a soulmate connection. And I don't know, I feel like for a lot of you, that might not be something that you realized yet. Maybe not even something some of you would want to realize, because it might seem a little bit too heavy when it comes to this connection. But okay, we had Temperance come out. We have Strength. Okay, two major arcanas coming out. This is definitely a soulmate situation, and I really think that the two of you are here to teach each other a lot of lessons. So interesting that Temperance came out on the Knight of Crystal side. This was the slower moving energy, the more cautious energy, the the more patient energy in a lot of ways. And Temperance really kind of touches on all of that. And then the Strength card coming out on the Page of Daggers side, there is like, I think it really just reflects these people's energy. There is a certain strength in the Page of Daggers. There's a certain straightforwardness and kind of like determinedness. I think both of these people are determined, but they do go about it in a different way. So interesting. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we have the Eight of Voices. So the Eight of Voices is Eight of Swords energy. And this really, Eight of Swords really talks about like restrictions, and a lot of times self-imposed restrictions. So looking at the way that this connection is unfolding, and also thinking about the healing, because you see this card is coming out on top of healing, and this is really the main purpose of this connection. It's to trigger healing in both parties, and I think that's then what is being healed. I think that restrictions and mostly self-imposed restrictions are being kind of knocked away when it comes to this. Wow, the card just flew out. When it comes to this energy, I think that these people, these two parties, are really helping each other to break down those walls and restriction, and really let each other know that they're here for the other one, and that opposing energy can kind of help balance the other one out. Okay. We have the Knight of Wands and the Four of Wands. So fire energy coming out here. And this really talks about happy home and energy moving kind of fast, kind of fast toward each other. This connection may have come in kind of fast. I think that this is an interesting one because it talks a lot about this dynamic of stability. And if you're not in connection with this person right now, it can feel like that's not there. But I think what's really most important about this is that it is sort of an unconditional stability that the two of you are offering each other. It is it's like this connection will always be there no matter what. The two of you are always going to be in each other's lives no matter what, which is very, very interesting for any of you who feel like this connection might not be taking place. What I can see from when we're looking into how this might unfold, I see Wands energy, which is very passionate and very fast moving, especially with the Knight of Wands, very fast moving. And I see the Four of Wands that really talks about a lot of harmony, a lot of balance, a lot of happy home energy. So I think if this is a connection that is brand new or one that you're not really in contact with the person, I think this is going to change in the future, and it might not even take that long because we had all this fire energy coming through. I think this is something like, even if the two of you are separated, you're together. You're probably going through life the same way. You're probably experiencing the same things and providing support for each other on the spiritual realm the entire time, because the two of you have decided to walk this path together. So I think that's all I have for you, Bird 4. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for letting me do this reading for you. If you liked this reading, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and consider subscribing if you feel called to do that. I would love to have you here. I will see you next time. Bye. Hi, number 5. If you picked this zebra jasper, this is going to be your reading all about why you're so drawn to the person on your mind, why they're drawn to you, what makes your connection with them so special, and why it can feel so intense sometimes. So we're going to start this reading with a person A, person B spread. You might find your energy on both sides of the spread. That's totally normal if that happens. You and your partner might be mirroring each other, and that's why you would see some of yourself on each side, but you can decide which side you resonate with the most. I won't say which side is supposed to be you. Let's get started. So person A is coming through as rooted, and person B, the Warden of Daggers. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're really looking at earth energy here with this rooted card, Taurus energy specifically, but this might be a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. Very earthy energy. I would say this is feeling more grounded than it typically would when I just say earth energy. So this is somebody very, very grounded. And we are dealing with air energy with the Warden of Daggers. So this can be a Gemini, a Libra, an Aquarius, and neither one of these people have to be these astrological signs, but it just gives you a little bit more insight just in case that's meaningful. Let's start with the rooted person. I think with this person, we're looking at a lot of tradition here. This person is very traditional, and they can seem like they don't make changes very often. They can seem like they don't change very often, like they change slowly. I think this is really interesting because this is card number 5, and 5 is all about change. In this case, I think that this is really just drawing my attention to the fact that change is an issue here, like that it is a topic of discussion, because I think between these two people, this might be something that they discuss. That maybe the rooted person feels a little bit slow moving. Maybe it seems like it takes a long time for them to implement things, or to like to make a move in a certain direction. That can be the case here, and this Warden of Daggers might find that a little bit frustrating with this air energy. That's a way faster moving energy. So they might get a little bit irritated with the rooted person, with person A. I think that with this Warden of Daggers energy, this is somebody who might get overly focused on work a lot of the time. Yeah, I think I'm starting to kind of see see what's going on here. I just feel such a difference in the amount of energy, or the movement of energy between these two people. So I do think that this could cause a little bit of conflict. In one of the other readings, we were talking about this, like that there might be a little bit of conflict. In this case, this is actually laying out just like group 4 laid out, with earth energy on this side and with air energy on this side. I'm pretty sure that's how it was. And what I was talking about with group 4 is that I do think that this is a very helpful energy. Like, these energies work well together in a lot of ways, because with earth energy, I think of like fertile ground, and with the air energy, I can see that the air could spread seed. So it's like these people work together very well, because the air energy can move seed, which then causes growth and causes a lot more to get planted, if that makes any sense. So in that way, I see these two people working very well together. But I do get like an opposing energy here from these people, and it might be a source of conflict. I see that just the pace of person 1 is potentially really frustrating to person 2. They just move slower. And I think that person 1 can become frustrated with person 2 because, well, for the exact opposite reason, because they move a little bit faster, and also because I think they can become overly focused on things that person 1 doesn't necessarily value as much. Like, they can really put their whole heart and soul and all their time into their work, whereas person 1 would like to focus on family matters, or on just slowing down a little bit. So I do feel like there's an opposing energy here, but at the same time, I think these people would work really well together. So it's really interesting energy. Let's pull your animal cards, and it will help us see exactly what these people are bringing to the table, just more clarity about them. So we have the sloth. That's very appropriate. And the otter. Okay. This sloth energy is really about taking things slow, maybe sometimes even being lazy. I wouldn't call this person lazy. The Warden of Daggers might feel like this person is lazy sometimes when they can't get them to do what they want them to do, but I don't think this person is lazy at all. I think they just have a different pace. I think they're more relaxed. They're also more reserved. That could be reserved with their time, with their energy. They might be reserved in the way that they dress, or just kind of how they put themselves out there into the world. They just might be more private and keep to themselves a little bit more. This otter energy is really about partnership, for the most part, about connection. So I find this really interesting showing up on the Warden of Daggers side, because we were just talking about this person might get kind of carried away when it comes to work, or to like more intellectual matters. I think this person can be sometimes maybe a little bit cold, a little straight to the point, and not overly concerned with emotional aspects of life. But seeing this otter card really lets me know that there is a little, like, there's more emotion to this person than it might seem. And that could be that it's like that emotional part of them, it might be buried under a layer of very abruptness and like matter of factness, and really just getting stuff done, and kind of like being busy with life. But I think underneath there's this real need to connect, and this real vision of partnership. So that's really interesting, because I think this might be the first reading that I'm seeing these animal cards as more how the other one sees the person. Like, I'm seeing this sloth card maybe a little bit more as how the Warden of Daggers views the rooted person, and this otter card as how the rooted person views this Warden of Daggers. I think that this rooted person knows that the Warden of Daggers is more sensitive than they come across, and knows that that's kind of like a little hidden part of their personality, or maybe at least hopes that's true, because they can see them as somebody who's really busy with work, and with getting things done, and they kind of just want to slow down a little bit more. So let's look at these two oracle cards to get an idea of what each person can teach the other in this connection. So this will tell us kind of why this person is in the other one's life, what they're here to share with them. So what the rooted person can teach the Warden of Daggers is indecision. So this is, I use my intuition in all aspects of life. And what the Warden of Daggers can teach the rooted person is growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. Okay. This totally makes sense because I think that it's interesting the way that these cards are. So like indecision sounds like a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. I think what the rooted person is really teaching the Warden of Daggers is that they can slow down. Like they can slow down and take their time to make a decision, take their time to think things through. They don't have to rush through. They don't always have to have the answer. They can kind of take a deep breath. And it's funny because it seems like this might be the exact thing that irritates the Warden of Daggers about the rooted person, but it's the lesson that they're learning too. It's like really the best thing that this person can provide for them. They kind of provide space to let this Warden of Daggers slow down a little bit and take it easy a little bit. And this growth card coming out on the Warden of Daggers side, it's like what the Warden of Daggers shows the rooted person is that they can move, like they can explore new things, they can try new foods, they can step out of their comfort zone, they can get out of the box a little bit. It's just very interesting energy because it's very opposite, and I think both people are learning that from the other. The major thing I'm getting from this reading, this might sound a little odd, but I'm getting like old married couple. So I'm not calling you old, and I'm not calling your partner old either, but I am getting a sense that this is like the sort of connection where the two people grow old together. Like, yeah, like, you might be more mature in age, or maybe not, but I feel like this is a connection where you're definitely going to be together for a very long time. I feel like this might be something that both people recognized right away. Let's pull your card. I have one more oracle card for you, and that's going to show kind of where this connection is going. I left this part of the reading relatively open, so this might be where it's going, or it might just give us more insight into the connection. But yeah, let's just see what you have. So you have consciousness, and that is number 2. Okay, so this card talks about clarity. It also talks about like a deep knowing. And deep knowing is actually a card in one of my other decks. And I feel like that's the card that would have come out for you had I shuffled that deck for this reading. This is the energy I was picking up on. The two of you know that this connection is like it's real. I think both of you see long-term commitment here, and that's what makes the connection between you so intense, is that it was almost immediate. Like you kind of could see your entire life, you could see the whole vision together almost immediately. And that's intense because sometimes we just want to take it step by step because seeing the whole big picture can be overwhelming. So it could pan out differently depending on who you are in this case. For some people, being able to see that and having such a deep knowing and an awareness that like this is my person for life, that could be really overwhelming to some people. For other people, it's exciting. It's like, yay, let's do this. Like, why wait any longer? But that's definitely why this connection can feel so intense sometimes, because it kind of is intense because it's not a casual connection by any means. And both of you recognize that. So if you are not in contact with this person, please keep in mind that that could be the reason. If you're wondering why they may have pulled away, that could very well be the reason, because there was a certain intensity to this connection. It's not necessarily like when we say intense, we can think like sexual energy or something. It's not necessarily that. I'm going to pull tarot and we'll see like what is coming through in that regard, but it's not necessarily that when we're saying intense. It's more intense like whoa, like this is so powerful, and like that's my life partner. Like whoa, am I ready for all that? Did I do my work? Have I grown? I think for a lot of you, you're both extremely mature, so I think for a lot of you this could be a connection that you are in right now, and that like things are sailing along pretty smoothly because you're both mature and ready for this connection. But for others, it may have scared one or both of you. I could see both parties here getting a little bit freaked out. Yeah, get the Sun card. Yeah, I could see both of you maybe getting freaked out. Maybe one of you, it's not enough to make you kind of like retreat, and for the other one, you needed more time to process. That could be the case, but it's pretty clear why the two of you are in each other's lives. You're in each other's lives to be life partners, whether you are in the connection right now or not. You're still there to be life partners. The Three of Materials, this is Three of Pentacles energy, so this really talks about working together. Yeah, there's like a sense of teamwork here and collaboration. So some of you might work with this person, or you two might come together to start a business or create something together. But yeah, there's like this feeling of really making something happen together, like really collaborating on something. And that might be just literally collaborating on life, because like I'm saying, this is like a life partner. This is somebody that you will like grow old with. So it might be that you're just collaborating on life, which is really what marriage and partnership in that committed long-term way means, because everything that comes up in life, then you have to collaborate on. It could just be like, we have to make home repairs. How are we going to do this? We're going to have children. How are we going to raise them? Like your whole life is going to be a collaboration. Some of you might not have been asking about a romantic partnership. So if this isn't a romantic partnership, this is really this is like a friend, or it's still a life partner. Like no matter what capacity, this is somebody who's going to be in your life for the long haul, somebody who you can really kind of count on to be there, somebody who you're going to grow old with, or if you're not the same age, because I'm getting kind of like, for some of you, this could be an older family member or something, but this is definitely somebody who is meant to be in your life for the long haul. So like they're like a permanent fixture in your life. Yeah. And then you also had the Page of Voices come out. So this is more swords energy, more of that fast moving kind of energy. And this is like there's a certain newness and like a message kind of coming through with this. So I do kind of think that for some of you, if this is a connection that you're waiting on communication from the other person, this really shows like a willingness and openness for that communication to come through, for those doors to be knocked down. And I think there's a bit of excited energy behind this. So there might be a level of excitement coming through when it comes to communicating. I think for the Warden of Daggers, this communication will be really welcome, because I think this is someone who likes to communicate, likes to kind of get it all out there, and they may have felt like they weren't able to for a period of time. So yeah, but I think the communication between the two of you is going to be great. I think it would have to be, because you feel like such stable life partners that like, yeah, you're going to have to learn how to communicate with each other, how to compromise on things, how to work together. I just see like home life. I just see family and like comfort and yeah, just there's like a stability to this, and that's really just an intuitive kind of feeling that there's stability. I mean, besides the fact that we had rooted, which is the Hierophant, and that can be stable, stable kind of energy. Okay, We have the Two of Cups. Yeah. We have the World card and the Two of Cups come out. I think this is really this is a beautiful partnership for the two of you, and I think the two of you are going to learn how to work together really well, or you already know how to work together really well. You might work together, but I see something here for the two of you. Like there's definitely a feeling of there might be like a family business in your future, or just kind of like starting a little side thing together, working together on some kind of creative project. There's something there, and I think that this is really going to fulfill both of you. For those of you already in this relationship, I think you are very, very fulfilled. And for those of you who have not quite brought this into your experience, it really explains why this feels so intense to you, because you know the level of fulfillment that awaits you on the other side of this. You're aware of that. Just know that they are too. This is very mature. Like I don't get the feeling that people are playing a lot of games here. It might take a little bit of overcoming to bring the connection together, but I don't think either one of you are playing a bunch of games. I think that you both see each other for who you are, who and what you are, and what that is long-term partners, lifelong partners. So I think that is all I have for you, Group 5. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I loved doing this reading for you. If you liked this video, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below, and consider subscribing if you feel like doing that. I would love to have you here, and I will see you in your next reading. Bye.